Hey, I'm Doug and welcome to Doppler's Gear Garage. In this video, I want to talk about overcoming and or preventing stage fright and performance anxiety. Stage fright generally referring to walking out onto stage and this is tonight the night I'm going to crash and burn, and performance anxiety more relating to recording when that little red light goes on, whether it's in Pro Tools or with a camera. Holy cow, there's somebody watching. Oh no. So the thing is that over the years, I've spent so much time performing that for the most part, I'm pretty comfortable in all these different idioms. However, that's not the case with everybody. This afternoon, I ran into a former student. They commented, yeah, I kind of get stage fright, and I can kind of watch their anxiety level go up as they were talking about it. And it's something that I think everybody contends with to one extent or another. So I want to talk about it in terms of the before, during, and the after. In terms of the during, if you find yourself starting to gear up, breathe in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. You're giving your body a message. Just chill out. It's going to be cool. The other, and arguably the most important thing that I do, I, in my mind, have this giant volume control that when that voice starts going, is tonight the night you're going to crash and burn? And it doesn't happen every time I go to play live, but it only seems to show up at the really important times, right? I just take the volume control and just go, the lips are moving, but I'm just like, hey, you know what? I'm here to have a good time. I remind myself why I'm there, what I'm there to do, and generally things go really well. Now, the other thing about all of this is that sometimes my hands will start to clam up. So if you find that happens, make your way to a bathroom, little soap and water, and then what I have a tendency to do is I will take a moist paper towel and stick it in my back pocket, just in case I want to give my hands a little wipe down before I got on the stage. All right. Now, that is kind of the stage-borne stage fright. But what about the performance anxiety, whether you're going to record in Pro Tools or maybe, you're shooting video like this? One of the most important things to keep in mind, and this is getting to a little bit of the before part, but still being conscious of this, for me, my best time in the studio and all this when I'm the most natural, I'm not thinking about it, is about 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And at about 3:30 in the afternoon, another version of Doug shows up that usually is not the get stuff done sort of Doug. So just be conscious when you're trying to do stuff, whether it's recording, audio, or working with a camera. Is there a best time of day, and try and work in that zone when and where possible. All right, I want to take a moment and talk about the before part. Years ago, I saw Steve Vai on what I believe is his third gig with Alcatraz, and it was at the Pasadena Civic, which, if I've got my locations right, was where Van Halen really kind of exploded. It was a big deal, and so seeing Steve at that venue, for me, was a big deal. But the thing was, it was his third date replacing Yngwie, and most everybody there didn't know that Steve had replaced Yngwie. So the curtain's drawn, and you can hear the audience, Yngwie, Yngwie. Curtain opens, and there's Mr. Vai. Now, at this point, he was just Steve Vai as opposed to Steve Vai. So in the first song, breaks a high E string. Guitar change happens, breaks another high E string. So at the very beginning of the set, it's kind of like one of those potential crash and burn moments. But per this conversation, Mr. Vai is a kind of practice and be ready kind of guy. And I believe the name of the song, and I apologize if I get it wrong, but Too Drunk to Live, Too Young to Die. There's a killer Yngwie solo in it, but Steve did it with two hands. And he nailed it. And you really kind of felt the room take a collective. It was cool that he didn't try and do what Yngwie did, because there was all this crazy sweeping stuff. Not that Steve can't do crazy sweeping stuff, but it was cool that Steve just made it his own, and he owned it, and everybody kind of went, oh. The preparation that goes into being ready is one of the best things you can do to prevent performance anxiety, be it recording, any of that stuff, and or stage fright. So the thing is as it pertains to you and I, if you've got a set, really know the order of the songs. Be really conscious of the keys and the starting frets that you're going to play that key at. Work on what I refer to as tails and tops. That is, say, the last little bit of one song and the first bit of the other. Be conscious of the last chord of the previous song and the first chord of the next song, and just loop that with some time going. It will really serve you very powerfully. It just means that you know When you finish one song where you're expecting to go into the next, and on nights where you're kind of not in sync with yourself, the nights that, you're really not at the top of your game, it will really serve you. The other thing is, like Mr. Vi, if there's a section that's hard, slow it down, bring it up to tempo, and then get it 10 or 15 BPM faster than you need to play it, such that it's built into your muscle memory. And in this fashion, be it the tails and tops, weird transitions or crazy parts, your muscle memory is going to own the experience such that you're more used to playing it right than wrong. It's a really great way to go into the gig with a certain level of confidence that is based on the fact that I've done my homework. I'm ready for whatever the gig is going to throw at me. Other type of preventative medicine. A few years back, I opened up for Michael Schenker touring across the United States. I was my own tech. I brought a hot swappable backup guitar. It was identical to my main guitar, such that it wasn't dramatically different. The two didn't play the same and they didn't sound identical, but they looked the same. I also brought a second amp that was ready to go on standby in case the first amp went out. Of course, it didn't because I had a hot swappable backup, but if it had, I would have been ready. And those are the sorts of things going into a gig that you kind of go, I've got it ready. All right, on the flip side, looking back, if you've ever had a gig that crashed and burned, look at the things that you might have been able to do to prevent the crashing and the burning. As it relates to kind of the recording and the video side of things, 9 a.m. Doug, that 9 to 11 zone is really where I kind of come down here, and on days where I'm really in my flow, things just happen. So I want to be conscious in that moment, again, the present moment, like, don't let myself get distracted. Email, text, phone, I really need to make sure I stay on target. And what starts to happen is by the time I get to the 3:30 Doug, where kind of I'm just not quite as focused, I need to focus on three really important things that I think is going to be particularly valuable for any of the content creators, either existing or wanting to be content creators. Identify what's truly awesome, what's good enough to quote unquote print, and what you just kind of need to go, you know what? It's 3:30 or whatever that time is for you, and I haven't quite gotten to where I need to be. I'm okay with punting this to tomorrow, or for those of us that have a particular day of the week that we publish videos, they're going to go, I'm okay with missing a week this week because you know what? I want it to be right. And there's a fine line between each of those three things, and it's sometimes very hard to navigate, but being aware of your kind of time cycle, with me, that 9 to 11 zone, and the 3:30 Doug, that guy that shows up and is just willing to not be as focused as the 9 a.m. guy, and being aware of kind of what's going to happen as I get to 9 p.m. Doug. 3:30 Doug has a lot to do with it, so that's where some really important decisions get made. The other thing is I want to talk about is your calorie intake. And again, this has to do whether it's a show or whether you're shooting video and or recording. Especially on shoot days, I'm very aware of kind of keeping my calories pretty level. No massive spikes of sugar. Sugar is not your friend. And also, I know it sounds kind of strange, but warm caffeine drinks and cold caffeine drinks affect me very differently. And generally, I start with the warmer caffeine in the morning, and in later afternoon, I switch over to, you never know, but the cooler caffeine drinks, kind of like an iced latte. But what starts to happen is if I get a little too excited and drink too much iced latte, Doug gets a little overly excited and everything happens really fast. It feels really good until I play it back and I'm going like, what in the world happened to you? So be conscious of monitoring your calorie intake and your caffeine. All right. Now we've talked about a range of things. Want to, first of all, say thank you for watching this video. Again, bumping into my old student and just watching him really it became very real to watch how his whole body kind of changed. I want to recap the breathing thing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Number 2, the big volume control. Turn that voice down. It's tonight you're gonna crash me. Just like that voice is never going to be your friend. Big volume control. It's great. The other thing is, again, washing your hands. If you kind of find that you get the kind of clammy hand thing, it works really well for me. All right. First of all, I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope this is a help. If you've got any thoughts, comments, suggestions, leave them down below. I would also like to extend this invitation. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I'd like to invite you to do so. Do not forget to ring the bell so I can let you know when more videos are going to go online. And please like the video. And again, leave some comments down below. Thanks again for watching. Cheers.